This is Gold House's Gold Talks. I'm Rebecca Sun, and I'm here with Tayme Thapthimthong,
Yes.
one of the stars of season 3 of The White Lotus.
There has been more crime on the island.
I'm all freaked out. I think we need to call the police.
Your job is to protect the hotel.
พี่แค่ไม่อยากทำร้ายใคร
พี่ต้องเข้มแข็งกว่านี้ดิถึงจะทำงานนี้ได้อะ
Let me jump right in. I want to ask you, what was your reaction when you first heard that the next season of The White Lotus was going to be set in Thailand?
Right. Well, I'm going to have to be honest and say, first off, that when I got called to go and cast for The White Lotus, I had no idea what The White Lotus was. I was actually, working as a bodyguard at the time, and, I just left the military. So I was, always in this kind of more watching action film stuff. I've never kind of watched this type of series or TV show. So when I received the casting for it, I honestly didn't know what it was, but I went to the casting anyway because my client who I was looking after, he's a Thai rapper who was born in Brooklyn, New York. So he knows about it. He's like, wait, what's this? What's this series you said you're casting for? I was like, White Lotus. He's like, dude, you gotta go, man. Like that's a huge show. Like go. So I was like, okay, that's all I knew about it. I haven't watched it yet, so I just went to the casting and just did it the way I thought it would be good, and then after the casting is when I actually started watching it, and then I got hooked.
That's amazing. I think that maybe even helped with the audition, right? Like fewer nerves, more natural.
Absolutely. Yeah, just because, I did hear later on from some people who went to cast, especially Thai cast, that I met at the callback, and they were all big fans of White Lotus before. And that's when I started to kind of get a scale of how big this show might be if these guys are so obsessed with it, and these are, big actors in Thailand, and they were also like, oh my God, I can't believe this season is coming to Thailand. I got to get this role, but for me, it was chill all the way through. So
I love that. That's so refreshing. I mean, yeah. It's only an Emmy-winning HBO series.
It's only exactly.
That's amazing. Now you mentioned, because I wanted to talk a little bit about your personal background and how it relates to your character. You were working as a bodyguard, and I know that you were formerly training with the Royal Marines because you're from England.
Yes.
Born and raised.
So I was a Royal Marine cadet. So it's like, that's what you do when you have a choice to do that when you're in boarding school in England, which I applied for, and I loved that since I was 13 to about 16, 17. I wanted to join the real Marines right after that because, Afghanistan was going on and they were sending people overseas. So yeah, I wanted to join the real thing, but my dad said, no, like you go and finish your education first. I went to Kingston University and I picked to do a dance course, not because I was into dance so much, just because I wanted to do something that I thought would be more physical based rather than having to sit in the classroom and write. I was wrong. There was a lot to write about in a dance course, but that's also where I got to try my first try acting, because there were some drama modules that were put into that course as well. So that kind of sparked a little bit of my interest into acting. During uni, I worked as a nightclub bouncer on the weekends. And then after that is when I finished my education, is when I actually went to apply for the Marines. But once I applied, my mom had a friend who is a legend in the SAS, so the British Special Forces, and he heard that I wanted to join the Marines, and he said, send him up to Hereford. I'll train him up. I'll give him some good tips. So I got really close to him, and his name's Sergeant Mick Tyler. You can look him up, and he gave me a lot of training. Took me to the Brecon Beacons and taught me how to map read properly and how to pace myself when running across these hills and mountains, and a lot of survival skills and stuff. What changed after that was that when I did go and apply for the Marines, the real one at the Navy office. After doing my aptitude test, when I did my medicals, that's when I found out that my left ear wasn't working so well. So it didn't allow me to serve overseas. So that was a real, game changer for me. I was pretty gutted, and my dad was like, look, I don't want you to just kind of mope around, London now, just sort of regretting this. It's not going to happen. So you might as well move on. And it was really hard for me. But my dad said, you should try out Thailand. You've never lived there before. You've visited, but, you do have family out there. Go and try that out for 2 years. If you don't like it, come back. So I took that chance. I went to Thailand and ended up staying there for the next 12 years. But a lot of things happened in Thailand before this, but I did end up serving in the Thai army and did a lot of training in there, went to counterterrorism and got to serve in a close protection unit working for the army. And then later on into the private sector, which is how I ended up being a bodyguard. And how that kind of transferred to playing this role. At first I was like, oh, wow, like security guard, it would be very easy to transfer over. But when I actually read the role of Gaitok, he's not like your typical tough guy security guard, right? So I had to play it down, like kind of made it, have to be very smiley, very shy, which, I found out was actually pretty close to my real self. Working with Lisa in particular as a person, it's unbelievable. To first of all be cast as Gaitok, knowing how big the role is for a Thai person to be in a series, a US series this big, and then later on, to be told that, oh, by the way, the person who's playing your love interest is Lisa from Blackpink. It was just like, I couldn't contain myself. But also with the amount of NDAs that I had to sign, I just had to really keep it in. So that was also very hard. But meeting Lisa for the first time, I'll never forget that, because it was at a cast dinner that Mike White had arranged for everyone to go to the Four Seasons in Samui, where we would start the filming. And it was just one of those beautiful evenings where the sun was setting, everyone checked into their rooms, and it was just all the main cast, like all being brought up from their rooms in these golf carts up to this bar restaurant at the top of the hill where you overlook the beautiful coast and the sun was setting. It was just so surreal for me to walk into that room and, especially from whatever I did before to sort of a few months later, I'm now in this room with all these guys I've watched in movies before, like Jason Isaacs and Walton Goggins, Leslie Bibb, Michelle Monaghan. It's just amazing. And the anticipation of like being in there and like, where's Lisa? Because like I know I'm gonna have to meet her at some point. And they would say, oh, Lisa, she just landed at the airport because she came straight in from Korea. Just the anticipation building up. So I was about one beer down before Lisa actually arrived. So that helped with my nerves a little bit. But when she turned up, my back was actually turned away from the entrance. So I didn't see when she came in, but when the producer came to get me, he's like, Tame, turn around. Your Lisa is here. I turn around and there she is, just kind of glowing. She just has this kind of natural aura about her. And she's wearing this white Louis Vuitton dress. Mm-hmm. And she just kind of walked in, and I was so like, my palms were kind of sweaty, and like I didn't know whether to shake her hand, whether she wanted to shake my sweaty hand or just to do that. So I was kind of like, and she just like shook my hand, and I was like, oh, it's really nice to meet you, Lisa. And she's like, oh, it's nice to meet you too. Do you want to get a drink? And I was like, yes, I'd love to get a drink. So we went to the bar, got another drink, and we just started talking. And she's just such a fun, easy person to get along with. And she's very bubbly. And yeah, we found a lot of common ground pretty quickly. She likes to sing and dance. I like to sing and dance. And the production really helped us get to bond because they just would pair us up all the time. Like, okay, you and Lisa sit here, get to know each other. And, after that, she was just so great because she would make the effort to sort of like, hey, like, let's meet for breakfast tomorrow. Let's meet for lunch. Let's go jet skiing. And she just really made an effort to get to know me, which I really appreciated because, I felt like I don't know if I can ask her to, do you want to come to dinner with me? I'm sure she's very busy, So I'd let her sort of lead, and she was always great. She would just like involve me a lot in a lot of her daily activities, and that's what got us to authentically become quite close. And then I think we became very good friends in the end, and filming was just fun. It wasn't like, oh my God, I got to go and film with her again. It just became like, on set, it would just be fun. Like she would bring her speakers down, and in the makeup room, we'd just have a little dance before we go on set and just go through our lines. So it was just an amazing experience. I really miss it.
That's awesome. I mean, and I think that the chemistry, it totally translates. I mean, you guys feel like you've grown up together, just like your character did. But speaking of that, I wanted to ask, what was it like? Because you were born and raised in England. So, Gold House is an organization of Asians all over the world, but, started by like Asian Americans. What was it like for you to play a Thai character, somebody who was born and raised and maybe had not left, the island ever? What did you have to do to kind of get into that character that's different from Tame and how you grew up?
I definitely just drew a lot from the people I've met in the past, other security guys, and how they, but I mean, not so much in the military, but just like when I go to around, vacationing around Thailand, just with my family or something, just to really think about how the security guards there act towards the people visiting. The security guards in the hotel are not necessarily like these kind of mean looking guys who are, they're about to, get into some action with someone, they're a lot more friendly. Mm-hmm. So I actually drew from that. And also while staying at the Four Seasons in Samui, there were security guards there that I actually talked to, and sort of, they knew the role I was playing. Just talk to them and just kind of sort of just observe how they are to the guest. And, so it's kind of like how they stand when they talk to a guest, or when the guest walks past, how they kind of like might bow their head a little bit, just those little things for sure.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, when you're checking into like a 5-star resort, you want the guest experience to not feel terrifying, intimidating. Although stuff goes down at the White Lotus that we won't spoil, but stuff goes down. Tell me about I read that Mike White, he used local producers he really wanted to make sure that the dialogue and just the portrayal of the Thai culture was authentic, was authentic for this story, which, the White Lotus is all about foreigners, right? And the tension between foreigners and the local culture. What did you notice, as somebody who now saw behind the scenes about how the production worked to kind of get those details right?
Well, Mike would always have this Thai lady who I think I can't remember exactly what her position was, but she is like almost like assistant director to Mike White, but she's a Thai lady, and she would always be with him. So especially for scenes where there's Thai that's spoken on the scene, she'll always be there to sort of make sure that the Thai is authentic and correct. Because especially with me, with Lisa, not so much. Like they already know she's Thai and she knows how to speak it properly and grammatically correct. With me is where the problem started arising, because at first they would give me the script and tell me like, just use the script as a guideline, don't go word for word, just say what's natural to you, just to at least get the message across. So I started rehearsing and doing it in my own way, my own language of speaking Thai. And that's when I realized that, oh my God, this whole time I've been speaking Thai, it's really not authentic because I'm putting English words in sometimes in between these Thai words. And I never really realized it. But that's where it became hard to sort of not use any English words at all and just use Thai words. And this is where Lisa really helped me out because she was on set with me the whole time. We had most of our scenes together. And before we go on set, she would just go through it with me. We'd go through it together and make sure I get it right. And she would sometimes even rephrase it for me. Like if the Thai producer or Thai assistant director has written something for me to read, for me to speak like that, she would sometimes tweak it a little bit to make it more like, oh, this is kind of how, maybe people our age would say, instead, and maybe say it like this so it's a bit smoother. So she really helped out with that. The other things to made it authentic is that Mike White would actually have a meeting with us before we even started filming and go through the whole script with us and ask us and the Thai assistant director whether this scene is something that would typically happen in Thailand, like as in would Thai people usually hold hands or not? Or are they usually more conservative? So, he really got the details out, and I think from what I've seen in the episode so far, he's really like nailed those details.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Finally, I want to know, the White Lotus, now that it is a big deal show.
Yes, I know now.
One of the main cast members of. This is going to be one of the most high profile portrayals of Thailand, of Thai, modern day, I should say, like modern day Thai people. And so what are you hoping that people will learn, about Thailand, about the people, the culture, as well as the impact on the opportunities, for artists like yourself? The impact of the show. What do you hope?
Yeah, I feel like, being someone who's actually lived here for the last 12 years in Thailand, I feel like I've soaked up enough culture and appreciate and traveling around Thailand, seeing beautiful spots in Thailand. I already appreciate it so much, and I know other tourists have as well. But seeing Thailand through the vision of Mike White and Ben, his DOP, they just made it look even better. They just captured this, and it's not like it's fake. It's just the way that they just have a good eye for this kind of thing. The way they capture the sunset and the coast, and it made me want to just live in Samui. Like, why would I want to live anywhere else? It's just so beautiful. And I think after this, it will make, I'm sure that other productions will want to start filming in Thailand more, just because they're like, oh, well, this is how it is. It's so beautiful. It just creates such a nice ambiance for a show or a movie, So I'm very proud and very happy that they chose Thailand to do season 3 in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It feels like it was a stunning decision. Watching it, it's both like sort of like it makes you long for travel and to know that there's such a beautiful place on the planet that exists, maybe with less like murder mystery and psychodrama.
For sure.
But what an accomplishment. Tame, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I hope you continue to enjoy this entire experience. And thank you so much for your time.
No, absolutely. My pleasure.
White Lotus season 3 coming to HBO.
Thank you very much.
Someone once said, the secret to life is knowing when to stop.
Go big or go home, right?
Mm-hmm. In a goddamn body bag.